when it comes to bullshit, Jeranism sells it like no other. He is a salesman that's just selling you a bunch of lies. Not saying the flat Earth's a lie. I'm saying that this dude is a shill like I've never seen one. But he's a funny shill because he's such a salesman. Want to hear Once you hear the bullshit he spouts, and always keep in mind when you hear Jeranism talk, whenever you hear him tell a story, he'll talk about fisheye lenses, X, Y, and Z. You should always be thinking to yourself, whatever this dude tells me, he is a flat earther, and the conclusion of what he should tell me should conclude to the earth being flat, right? That's what you should be telling yourself because that will only make sense. That's what an intelligent thinking person would do when they're hearing someone present information, as journalism claims to do. The thing is that everything he does, you will never come to a conclusion of the earth being flat. That might sound ironic because he's a flat earther, but this is the how a bullshit artist shill works. They are able to give you a bunch of filler, a bunch of feel good stuff. But at the end of that feel good stuff, you don't come to the intellectual conclusion of the earth being flat. When you hear all of journalism's fluff and bullshit, he talks, you don't come to a conclusion. You come to the conclusion of this is a pretty good video. This is a well produced video. This video produced interesting questions. You you come to a good quality video. That he does. But you do not intellectually come to believing the earth is flat from what he presents. And it's by design because he doesn't actually go out of his way to actually present anything that would actually come to the conclusion of the earth being flat. He actually doesn't. He did one experiment that he called a success, which it wasn't because a success to a flat earther should always be proving that the earth is flat and that it's not round, or at least that it's not round. But that wasn't the conclusion of his first experiment, as he admitted. And the second one he did, he actually admitted that this one was not a success. So he admitted to one not being a success and then one to being a success, even though the one that was a quote unquote success, according to him, didn't come to the didn't come to a conclusion that the second one should have came to. It's arrogant. It's just what a salesman does. They have egos. We have egos as big as Jeranisms. You can say these things and people will never check you. And it's kind of like I can hear the language of a bullshit artist, but most people can't.
This is a hoax, then you better wait real about the shape of the earth. How the hell would we know how it all is here for a second? Blue isn't blue, and I ask you, well, what color is your car? Don't fucking tell me I don't know, but it's not blue. What color is your fucking car? Now, we need to think about this here for a second. If the entire world has been lied to about space not being real, about the shape of the earth, how the hell would we know how it all works? Wait, that's what's important? If you're gonna dismiss this as a hoax, then you better have something clear to replace it. Oh, I better? No, I'm sorry, I don't. So go ahead, believe your lies.
No, you just have to prove it's a hoax. And the only way you can prove that is by going out and doing an experiment of your own to show it's a hoax. Because the same burden of proof you ask of NASA to do and all these other people to do that they don't clearly do for you. You say they don't do it. They don't meet your criteria of enough. I have to ask of you the same. It's only fair to ask of you, hey, you require transparency, truth, and honesty from NASA and competency from NASA. Isn't it only fair that we ask that of you? But you'll never do it, just like they'll never do it. But you'll tell us how insane they are, but how honest you are, even though you're doing the same tactics that they do.
That's obviously more important to you. Well, I'd rather have a lie that works. If oh, Larry, your wife's been cheating on.
You don't know either. You just admitted, hey, I don't know. We've all been lied to, including you. You've been lied to as well. So how do you know? You cannot take a stand that the earth is flat no more than you can take a stand that the earth is cubed or the earth is 3D or the earth is 12D. You taking the stand that the earth is flat is a definitive thing. But you just admitted, which I already knew, that you don't know. You know you don't know. But if you don't know, you should be selling I don't know. But I don't know doesn't really sell. You can't just make videos about I don't know. What sells is having a position. You sell a position. The position you sell is flat earth. You don't believe in flat earth. You don't believe in rotten earth either. You tell the truth in terms of saying you don't believe in anything. You don't know.
On you, and rather have a
I want to make sure I heard that
we
right.
know how it all works. About space not being real, about the shape of the Earth. How the hell would we know how it all works?
Hold on.
Tell me on this. Oh, this I highlighted the part that I was interested in. So let's understand this little paragraph here. He says, "Flat Earth logic is by turns mesmerizing and maddening. There is no gravity, nothing to restrain it. But as a theory, it explains fewer phenomena than the theory it seeks to supplant. In the corridor, I met a documentary filmmaker. There were several milling around at the conference who had been following the Flat Earth community for months. His face bore a look of despair. If you're going to dismiss everything as a hoax, you better have something clear to replace it," he said, his voice rising towards apoplexy.
You
"If
are
you tell
so
me your car isn't
arrogant.
blue, and I ask you, well, what color is your..."
You are so arrogant. And the reason why you're arrogant, because I can imagine you having this kind of conversation with someone. And this is a really rude conversation. That's neither here or there. Whether how you interact with people is the way you interact with people, I suppose. But it just shows how arrogantly rude and just full of yourself you are.
Your car. Don't fucking tell me I don't know, but it's not blue. What color is your fucking car? Now, we need to think about this here for a second. If the entire world has been lied to about space not being real, about the shape of the Earth, how the hell would we know how it all works?
Yeah.
That's what's important. If you're gonna
How will we
dismiss this as a
know?
hoax, then you better have something clear to replace it. Oh, I better? No, I'm sorry, I don't. So go ahead, believe your lies.
No. No one's asking you to have something to replace it with. No one's asking one man to do that. No one's asking of you to do that, Jeranism. No one's saying, hey, if you're saying all this is fake, you should explain how everything works. No. But here's the thing. If you're saying everything's fake and you're going to do an experiment to show this to us, that, hey, here's an empirical experiment that I did that they say it should be this way. It's this way. Here's how I did it. You do it yourself. Here's the materials I used. And then that is the impact. Now, you would never do that. You would never do an experiment that would conclude to that. You can't. If you could, you would. But you can't. So you won't. And that's the point. You ask of these people a burden of evidence, evidence the burden of which you yourself could never meet. You couldn't meet. And it's insane. You're asking NASA and the government to be honest, upfront, transparent, all these things, which makes sense. They should be. They're not, but they should be. But isn't it funny that all of these qualities that you're asking of the government to do, you yourself can't do? You can't do it. People ask you about transparency just in your own procedures, and you can't do it. You admittedly can't do it. You even said, hey, even if I did do it, if they have the video, that's it, which made no sense at all. But you're a bullshit artist, and that's just what bullshit artists do. They say things sometimes, and it goes over a lot of people's heads. Not mine, but a lot of people's heads.
That's obviously more important to you that, well, I'd rather have a lie that works. If oh, Larry, your wife's been cheating on you. And nope. Well, with who? I don't know. With who. She's just been cheating on you. Nope. Sorry, you need to tell me with who, or else it doesn't matter. I'm just going to sleep with her every night. It doesn't matter.
He's not saying anything.
Don't tell me that your car's not blue. Don't you tell me what color is the car.
Should be addressing what this article is saying.
Don't you realize
he's not.
They taught you to be that way? When they sit you in desks in school and say, now we're going to give you all the facts, and you just need to regurgitate them and write them down.
This is called filler.
That's how you become smart. If you're smart,
you'll
repeat what I said verbatim.
How does this article disprove what you're saying about the Earth being flat?
The difference between that and somebody who's not smart is that person won't remember what I said and will have a hard time bringing it up whenever
it's called filler, people.
That's how you get along in this life. It's ridiculous that none of us had these red flags flying
this is
all
called
over
filler.
our heads. Just like,
this is red meat.
Wait a second. This is not what would happen. This is not how you would teach a society.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the rich and the powerful and the elite, you think
I agree.
They sit around in boardrooms saying, how can we make the population smarter?
Red meat.
We want them to be as smart as possible.
Buzzwords.
So that they can come and take my money and take my family's wealth. So let's write textbooks where we put all the answers in there for them so that they can discover everything for themselves. They'll be so smart, they'll come in. My oil business will be gone in a month. This would be great.
This is philosophical mumbo jumbo. People who should be thinking, critical thinkers should be thinking to themselves. He is talking about an article in the mainstream news, the New Yorker. In this New Yorker article, they quoted this arrogant, lying dude. The quote is so arrogant itself. I almost want to break that down just to show you how arrogant and just how shilly he is. But I'll ignore the quote for now. But you should be thinking to yourself, he should be talking about this article. He's doing an experiment to prove the Earth is flat. Either two things you should be telling yourself. Either he's proven this, as he said it was a quote-unquote success, which it wasn't. But let's just ignore that because he's a bullshit artist. He lied. That's what they do. And they're good at selling. And he's good at that. But he lied. You should be asking yourself, what he's doing right now, the conclusion should be two things. Either he's come to the conclusion that the Earth is flat and their mainstream is hiding it. And we know that's not true. Or they're going to tell lies about him that are so egregious, it's suspect. Meaning kind of like, why would you lie about someone who's just doing experiments? These are two, because if they're doing that, then you can say, them slandering you is kind of messed up. These are two conclusions you should draw from Jeranism explaining this New Yorker thing. And if he doesn't do either or, if he's just giving you a bunch of filler and a bunch of rah-rah, philosophical mumbo jumbo, this is shilly. He's a shill. This is what shills do. This is what bullshit artists do. They're good at doing this. He is good at doing this. He's giving you the rah-rah.
And my Hershey's candy business will be over once they realize the problems that sugar. Nobody saw that. We just all sat there like, yes, give us the answers. We will all be smart together. This is the way you. It's not the way you would ever educate society. Ever. It's so clear. That's indoctrination. That's what that is. When you sit people in a room and you say you will all believe the same thing, and guess what? They don't want you to be smart. That's the dumbest thing. He's not
addressing this article at all.
Yeah, let's make everybody smart. No, it's how do we make these people dumb and make them think they're smart? That's the way you do it.
Address the article.
Plan
address
where
the
we make these
article.
People idiotic.
Address the
we make
article.
Them completely, brainwashed with TV and music.
Philosophical mumbo jumbo.
And go my team and hate your team and.
Philosophical mumbo.
Because then you have no clue what's going on. You go work your job, pay your taxes, pay your gas, pay your bills, and you never have a clue that these guys have run off with the world.
How's the
That's what happens. And that's what's taking place.
Address the article now.
If you can't see it, I can't help you.
Okay.
Once you're explained it.
Address the article.
I don't know what else, needs to be done to help you.
Bullshit artist.
It's like I was watching some show the other day.
You started even addressing.
Somebody was talking about the medical industry and how certain, these holistic things.
We're going to watch this and see if he addresses this article at all.
People say, wait a second, if these things are true, then why haven't the doctors come out and
This
said it?
has nothing to
It's like,
do with the
holy
flat
smokes.
Earth,
I
his
mean,
experiment, or this article talking about him.
it makes no sense. The doctors have all been trained and brought up in the same system you have. They've all
Philosophical
been taught how
mumbo
medicine
jumbo.
works and how they heal people, and that's what they all believe. So when somebody comes along and says, "I think that possibly these immunizations are hurting our children," then they all are going to say, "What are you, crazy?
I'm not
We
stopping
were
this
all
or anything,
taught that they're
people.
great, so you're a loony bin." That's how it works. So when everybody's taught from the age of 6 that you live on a spinning ball, and even though we all sat there in class like, and you can all deny it all you want, but I have a feeling every single one of us
Oh my god.
had that same feeling of, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, what are
We live on
you
that?
talking about?
Well, how? How do you live on where's the water go? But you know what? You couldn't ask a person. You couldn't bring it up in class. You couldn't mention it to your teacher and say, how does this all work? Because he'd say, scientists have figured it out. And if you still didn't believe it and you went home and said, "Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, do we live on a ball?" What are your mom and dad going to say? "Well, of course we do. Scientists have figured it out." "Well, geez, who do I go to?" "Go to your sisters, your brothers. Do we live on a ball?" "Of course we do. That's what science figured out." "Oh, geez, okay, I'm sorry." And you ask your friends and they laugh at you because that's what they found out. And so that easily, the whole plan is laid out.
He's not going to
That's all you need. And then you've got people believing that they live on a spinning ball simply because they've been given some stupid explanations, even though it all comes with such ridiculous numbers and such ridiculous facts, which we're going to get into in a second here, talking about gravity, that it's crazy. It's crazy. It just really
but
is
address this article though.
nonsense.
You're not going to address this article
Can't
because it's been about like 5
see it.
minutes now.
And again, if I believed in the ball Earth right now, I don't even care if I believed in it wholeheartedly. There's so many things that would be red flags to me, like Stephen Hawking going out and botching and faking an experiment. How
Okay.
dirtball do you feel if you're a globe believer right now? How does that feel to know that you're out there preaching that something is so scientific? It's so
This dude is trolling people, dude. This dude is trolling people. He is trolling you. Jeranism is trolling flat earthers. I was wrong. I was wrong, dude. This dude is trolling flat earthers, man. Jeranism, you are something else, dude. Hear what this dude just said.
perfect. It's so mathematical that you're. How dirtball do you like Stephen Hawking? I believed in. And again, if I believed in the ball Earth right now, I don't even care if I believed in it wholeheartedly. It's nonsense that people.
Now, before I even let this play again, I want to say one thing. A, he's not going to address this article. I'm done with that. I'm not even worried about it anymore. He's not going to address this article no more. That's shilly enough for people. He's not going. I'm not even going to expect him to address this article. But what I want to address is what he said here. You should always bear in mind that, like a salesman, they'll get too far into themselves. They'll get into themselves too much. And when they do, it's almost like, you know, he has to be trolling because what he's about to say is exactly what he did. It's a botched experiment, a botched experiment, and a whole scientific and a whole, hey, I can't repeat my experiment. So if they get a video and they don't give me the video, we will never know, even if it were a success. All this BS he's saying, bear that in mind when he says what he's about to say now. Either he is a bullshit artist, as I say, or he's trolling. Either or, it is what it is. But I have to say, this dude has to be trolling. Hear what he says.
People can't see it. And again, if I believed in the ball Earth right now, I don't even care if I believed in it wholeheartedly. There's so many things that would be red flags to me, like Stephen Hawking going out and botching and faking an experiment. How dirtball do you feel if you're a globe believer right now?
Exactly. But instead of being a globe believer, how dirtbag do you have to be if you're a flat earth believer? Especially if you're one that listens to you. You replace Stephen Hawking with you, and you replace globe believer with flat earther, and that failed experiment with yours. You're talking about yourself and your listeners.
How does that feel to know that you're out there preaching that something is so scientific, it's so perfect, it's so mathematical?
Exactly. This is why I think you're trolling people, because that's exactly what you did. You said it was so scientific. Your experiment, which it wasn't scientific, because if it were, it'd be repeatable. We'd have videos of it. We'd have an inventory of the things you used. There's nothing scientific about any experiment that you would do now or that you've ever done, Jeranism. There isn't anything scientific about anything that you do. It's amazing. I mean, I can't believe you even said that.
And then you have Stephen Hawking, the world's smartest
You,
man. He was. Now he's, well, I don't know how long he's been dead, but I think he's dead now. Might be, might not. Anyway, he goes out and to perform this experiment, it should have been the most perfect experiment ever done.
exactly.
It should have
It's you.
squashed flat Earth into the ground
This is
with no way
you.
for it to get back up. That's what you'd expect as a I believe in the globe. We got Neil deGrasse Tyson, and we've got all these professors,
I'm
and
done.
we've got all these books and
I'm done.
Aristophanes, and then you should
I'm done.
expect flat Earth to be smashed into smithereens. But what happened?
Yes.
They went out and faked an experiment.
This is you.
Faked it.
This
Got the
is
numbers off of a
you.
curved calculator and plugged them into those guys' voice box and made them say that. Look,
This is you. This is you. Journalism, this is you. This is exactly what you did. Both of your experiments, one that you admitted was, well, the second one you admitted was a failure, was botched, and the first one you say was a success, but it's a failure too. It's just admit it for what it is. You're talking about yourself. Let's just play that insane line again, you egomaniac.
curved an experiment. Got all these. That's what you'd expect as a I believe in the globe. We got Neil deGrasse Tyson, and we've got perform this experiment. It should have been the most perfect experiment ever.
Yeah, your experiment, journalism, both of them should have been the most perfect experiment that you got with other people's money to show without a shadow of doubt that this experiment's going to prove that the Earth is flat. That's what your experiments should have proved. They have never proved that. They never will. This story you're about to tell, and I knew you were going to do this, man. I knew you were going to do this. This story you're about to tell is you. This is you in a nutshell. And you can't even deny it. You can't just say I'm lying. This is you in a nutshell.
Perfect. It's so mad to know. I believed in the ball Earth right now. I don't even care if I believed in it
This is you.
wholeheartedly. There's so many things that would be red flags to me, like Stephen Hawking going out and botching and faking an experiment.
No, you did
How
that.
dirtball do you feel if you're a globe believer right now? How does that feel to know that you're out there preaching that something is so scientific, it's
Like
so
flat Earth?
perfect, it's so mathematical, and then you have Stephen Hawking, the world's smartest man. He was. Now he's, well, I don't know how long he's been dead.
You got their
I think
money.
he's dead now. Might be, might not. Anyway, he goes out and to perform this experiment, it should have been the most perfect experiment ever done.
But you didn't do it,
It should have
journalism.
squashed flat Earth into the ground
Yeah,
with
but you
no way
didn't
for
do
it to
it.
get back up.
But you didn't do it, though.
That's what you'd expect as a I believe in the globe. We got Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
We've got all these professors, and we've got all these books and Aristophanes.
Yeah, I believe in flat Earth. I believe in journalism. He says he's for the truth. He gets people to give him money for donations. He takes these donations and does experiments. These experiments should conclude whether or not the Earth is flat or not. Yet, that's never happened. Journalism has done 2 experiments, and both of them, the conclusion is the Earth isn't flat. You can say they're inconclusive, the weather was bad, X, Y, and Z, but we all know a good salesman isn't going to let a good sell go to waste. You know what I'm saying? And flat Earth is a good sell. You're not going to let it go to waste. You're not going to just say to yourself, okay, I can. It's like the AIDS thing. You have a drug, you give them the drug. You don't want to cure it. Journalism, he has to sell a flat Earth. He's just giving you enough. That's why he never addressed this article that he's never going to address. He will never address that article. And the reason why I made a big deal about this article and why he's not even addressed it now and why he's just trailed off into something entirely different, this is what a salesman does. He's just giving you a bunch of filler. Because this article explains the fact that you're not getting anything from him. You're not getting anything from him. That's the premise of this article. It's explaining that you're not getting anything from him. The same experiment that he says is a success and all this other bullshit or is a failure. This article is just pointing out a very simple thing. And for the mainstream news, it's kind of weird that they even would. But I guess it just is when you have a shell, it's just fun to mess with the shell. But shells serve their purpose, and this is it. And the point is, you don't have anything. That at the end of all this shit, he has nothing. The conclusion is nothing. He has nothing. He can tell you that the conclusion is inconclusive, but it's not inconclusive. The conclusion is he has nothing. He might as well had done the experiment, and the results would still be the same. In fact, I almost think that's exactly what it's going to come to at this point. Just making it all up, which he probably is doing already, but this is just straight up just lie.
And then you should expect flat Earth to be smashed into smithereens. But what happened? They went out and faked an experiment.
Yeah, like you.
Faked it.
You did.
Got the numbers off of a curved calculator and plugged them into those guys' voice box.
Who knows where you got your numbers
6
from?
feet. Now we're at 6 miles and it's 24 feet. I mean, come on. I feel like such a dirtball if that was me. I just wouldn't be able to live with myself. Like, how
really?
am I going to keep preaching
But how do you
this
live
and
for yourself,
pretending like
though?
I'm smart for doing so? And this is what we're given? I mean, astronauts that can't decide whether or not we can see stars in space? No camera on the moon. The only technological advance in the history of the world that's gone backwards